Hey guys, Mike Risco here, your host of the Greater Ossining Chamber of Commerce Chamber Chats series, and I'm really excited to be here with my friend Kishore Siva. We've known each other for a long time.
15 years, yeah.
15 years, and I know some of the history of what you've done with your professional career. So I know you've been in banking, finance, you've been in a company that we worked with you guys doing stuff with our website, helping us with that, and now you have a new business. So how are you? Nice to see you.
Good to see you, Mike.
Good to see you too.
Thanks so much for having me.
You got it. Can you tell the audience just your name and what you do and the name of your new project?
Absolutely. So Kishore Siva, Helios Franchise Advisors. We help individuals who are exploring business ownership through franchising. And then we also help businesses who want to expand using a franchise model as well. So that's what we do. Helios has been in business for 4 years now, and really excited to talk about it.
That's great. So what is a franchise?
Yeah.
What exactly does that mean?
Franchising is a business model. So people sometimes say it's an industry, but it's actually a business model. And what it allows a business to do is bring in owners, otherwise known as franchisees, who own their territory or unit of the franchise brand. So the franchisor is the brand, right? If I use McDonald's as an example, McDonald's is a franchisor. The individual owners in each location are the franchisees. And what's great about this model is you are bringing in owners who actually, it's their business. They have a vested stake in making sure it's successful.
Yeah, you're doing this from both sides, right? Like you'll help an individual find a franchise, like through some profiling, like finding out what they like and their history and what they're looking for, things like that. But do you help the actual franchise find people? Do you kind of do both of those
things?
things?
We do. We actually do. And so a core part of what we do is working with individuals. Often these can be people that are in career transition. Maybe they are in a job they don't like anymore. Maybe they just lost their job and they're trying to figure out what's next. And we take them through a process to help them identify the types of businesses that might actually fit what they're looking for.
Questions would you ask somebody to find out what
Well, we have a detailed questionnaire.
I mean, just if they don't like their job and they want to move on to a new...
So usually the types of questions we ask them are just initially to get to know them. What is their career background? What type of work have they done? We want to know what kind of work do they enjoy? What do they like about it? What do they not like about it? What type of experience do they have dealing with the public? Or if they don't have that experience, what type of other career experiences do they have? We ask them about their leadership experience. Have they managed people before? Have they not? Do they have sales experience? And what's interesting is the answer to these could be yes or no. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that we can't find them the right franchise fit. These are all important questions to help us understand what kind of model will fit them. And then we need to understand a little bit about their finances, their budget. And then really it's helping them look at what could be a variety of different options in terms of franchises. And see, that I think is one of the biggest challenges when people start looking at franchises. There are literally thousands of options out there. It could be an overwhelming process.
Right.
And what we try to do is, as we get to know the client, we're better able to help them start to match with franchise brands that could be the right fit, which could be in any number of different industries.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting, like you said, with any number of different industries. Like before we were talking about, you were saying that many people think of franchise, as I did, sort of like mainly as restaurants.
Yes.
Like a McDonald's, like you mentioned, but what other sectors or categories do we have just in general?
Yeah, definitely fast food is probably what franchises have been known for historically, but where we're seeing a lot of growth right now are in other areas, such as home services, roofing, painting, lawn care, plumbing, HVAC, any of the services that are needed inside and outside of the home. Another industry we're seeing a lot of growth in is in the children's education space. So we were talking just before about a a coding franchise that has been doing very well. We actually see a lot of growth in the professional services space, so consulting. So sometimes people come from a professional services background and they want to do something that's kind of similar to what they've been doing. Senior care, that's a huge growth area. And if you kind of hear about some of the industries that we just went through, a lot of those are recession-resistant businesses, right? If your roof is leaking, you don't say, well, let me wait till 3 years until the economy is better. You have to do it. Sadly, if your senior, your loved one is needing care, that's needed right away. Children's education, right? I mean, that is such a priority in terms of, as with everything you do in children's education on the musical side, you see that as well. And so there's other industries, pets, dog training. That's a growing area as well. So there's a lot of different industries that we see in the franchise space.
I would think that a lot of people, one of the questions might be, even after you sort of figure out what might be the best fit, like, well, I don't know anything about that industry. So how do you get around that? Can you go into a franchise in an industry that you know nothing about? Or would you sort of find out that somebody might have the skills that are needed for that?
So here's the really interesting answer on this. Most franchise brands actually prefer the candidate does not come from their background. And it's kind of counterintuitive, but the reason for that is what franchise brands are looking for are people that bring in generalist business skills, the ability to run a business. They understand that they can train the franchisee in their particular area. Too often, if a franchisee has worked in that industry for 30 years, it becomes challenging because a lot of times they're going to want to come in and do things
they have their own opinions.
Exactly. And brands would really prefer that people are coming in and are willing to follow a system and actually execute a model that has ideally been proven over and over before. And that actually lends itself well for people to say, hey, I've never worked in, I had clients in Ohio that went into a painting franchise. They had no background in painting. 3 years later, they're doing extraordinarily well. And they followed the system, went through the training. And oh, by the way, franchise brands do not want owners actually doing that work. So one of the brands we talk to always says, if an owner is on a ladder, something has gone terribly wrong.
Right.
It's running a business.
Yeah, okay. So that's great. And as far as your background, so you've been in different industries. So how has your experience in those industries helped you get to where you are? So can you tell us the like several industries that you've been in and what you've pulled from each of those to give you the specialty that you have now?
Absolutely. So I spent 25 years in banking. And I got started actually in the branches of a bank, and I spent a number of years in branch banking. I always think any role, whether it's in branch banking or other retail areas, obviously you know this as well, any role in which you're dealing with the public, it's just great experience. Like knowing how to provide a customer service in a great way, meeting the needs of the people you're talking to. That is a great skill, and I think I learned a lot from that. I also did a lot with international banking. So I worked in trade finance, got to work in London for a couple of years in a strategy role during my career. And so understanding international banking has, and I've always had a passion for international business. And our business has international components to it too. We've done placements in other countries. And then the last 10 years of my banking career, I was building and leading customer experience organizations. So helping the bank improve their customer experience. And so customer experience is just a passion of mine. And I think that lends itself also really well to the franchise space where being able to deal with customers and knowing what the customers need is really critical. So then after 25 years, I'd worked for two very large banks and I wanted to do something more entrepreneurial. And so 6 years ago, I actually went forward with a franchise. At the time, They were new to the US, and I was helping them build out their US organization, which is a franchise model actually, and they were a technology consulting franchise, Valenta. We got to work together on that. And I was with them for 4 years as they were growing, and learned a lot. We helped them build out their US business. But 4 years ago, in addition to Valenta, what I realized in my corporate career I had a real passion for was helping people think about their next career step. I used to do a lot of mentoring and coaching of people in my career around thinking about, what's next? How do I kind of take the next step in my career, at the time within the bank or even to another bank. I wanted to do something that was similar and also had those properties of, having an international component, having something where I could work with businesses. That I should have mentioned, I spent a lot of time with business banking as well. And so becoming a franchise consultant was a great way to bring this all together in one place. And so one piece of our business obviously is what we talked about, helping individuals find the right brand. Another part of what we do is helping businesses grow using a franchise model. So we can help a business get set up as a franchise and then help them find franchisees after that, whether it's here in the US, here in Westchester, throughout the US, or even internationally.
I'm finding a common thread with a lot of people that we're interviewing, that people are taking their collective skills that they've accumulated over the years and using them to give back in different ways. So like you wanting to help people find their next business, it's kind of a give back thing, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I've always felt like it's been really important to me.
So this is great. So can you tell the audience, I have a couple more questions for you, just tell them the name of the business one more time and how to get in touch with you.
Helios Franchise Advisors, that's HELIS franchise. So our website is heliosfranchise.com. I'm on LinkedIn. That's another great way to
How do they find you on LinkedIn using that same name?
Yeah, or actually just through my name, Kishore Siva. And of course, my cell phone anyone can call. My email, my cell 646-765-9612, and my email kishore.siva@heliosfranchise.com. So any one of those ways, we're happy to speak with you.
That's great. And can you share with the audience maybe one tip if somebody's going to start a company similar to yours, or if they just want to start a new business and they're an entrepreneur and they're just looking for the next thing to do, what kind of advice can you give to somebody that wants to start their own business?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things I would say. One, it's really important to make sure that you're not buying a job, that you're actually trying to look for something that's a business. And by that, I mean something that can operate even if you're not there that day, right? So it's got to be something that you will have to spend a lot of time building the business personally, etc. But it's got to be something that at some point, if you wanted to turn it over to someone, or to have someone else running it, or to be able to grow and scale and have other people running it for you, it has the properties and the ability to get there. So that's one. And two, I would say, is relationships. Building a business is so much about relationships. And one thing I always believe is stay in touch with people from your network. Even if you haven't talked to them in years, reach out to them. Starting a business is a great time to be doing that and sharing with them what you're doing. I did that early on. I continue to do that regularly, and I'm always so happy to have those conversations if it's just to catch up on a personal level, but B, it's also led to situations where people have said, oh, I didn't know you're doing that. Let me introduce you to so-and-so who's looking for exactly that.
Great. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for all this great information and your advice, and it was great chatting with you.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me.
All right.
A pleasure to talk with you again.
All right, you guys, reach out to Kishore if you have any questions about any of this. Signing off, it's Mike Risco and Kishore Siva, and we'll see you next time on Chamber Chats.
Thank you.